Who is he going to give the AR to?
Exactly.
Is he going to just set the damn AR on the ground and let somebody else pick it up?
Exactly.
Like, what do you want? This guy was, oh my God.
Because I think
the questioning was insane.
It was garbage. It was trash. He was literally just trying to find a thread to pull on.
He was reaching like Dawson from Street Fighter. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, what do you want? So... Good evening, everybody. This is Uncle Tom Patriot. I have just switched my name to Uncle Tom Patriot. I know since the last video, I switched my name for reasons. You guys can check out the reasons on my channel. It's Uncle Tom Patriot. Just go ahead and I put up a video on the reasons why I checked that. Or why I changed my name. And I'm not going to really get into it in this video. Today we're going to focus on the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The case that happened today, or the trial that has continued today. Kyle Rittenhouse got up on the witness stand.
Yeah, bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, very, very bold move. And he... in my opinion, was a superstar. I think he rocked it. I think he killed it.
I agree. At first, I won't lie, I was worried that first...
Yeah, that was his...
part there. You could tell he was nervous. It was like, oh, you know... I was on Twitter the whole time. Like, the whole feed was like, oh no, oh God. Like, was this a mistake?
Yeah. I mean, before that, we got to introduce you, of course.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Yes.
I'm Libby Lou Patriot. My name has stayed the same. But yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited for this conversation. It was I mean, this is a huge news story given the current climate, so I'm super excited to get into it.
Yeah. It was incredible. I was watching... not the whole thing, straight through, but just, large bits and pieces of it. And that judge, oh my gosh, that judge was not having any of it today. He was not having any of it. He was not down for the BS.
Nope, he was not, and I am here for it. I support it. Yeah, I did watch basically the entire stream. I've watched the past few days, but today I watched pretty much every minute of it, and it was intense. And that judge, people are going to come out and say like, oh, this white supremacist judge, like they're already saying it. Yeah.
They're already doing it.
But he was like, any good judge would have done what he did, because for those who don't know, Binger, right? That's a prosecution name. Or Littlefinger for any... You've never seen Game of Thrones, right?
I haven't gotten to watching it.
Okay. There's a character that looks spot on, too.
Yeah.
I'll have to show it to you later.
Okay.
But, yeah, the misconduct was appalling.
Yeah, he was atrocious. This guy, we're talking about a guy that we all know that he has aspirations to run for DA, and that's what he wants to be. He has political aspirations, and this is what he's throwing it all in. He's like, I don't want to come to his defense in any way, but he has very little to work with.
Yeah.
He has very little to work with. And he's desperate.
Absolutely desperate.
Yeah.
And I think that his, what he thought might be his Hail Mary was if Rittenhouse would get on the stand and he could fluster him with all these constant questions and hours. But you could tell, like...
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse was well versed, right? Like
Yeah,
he was well prepared for his statement. You know, a little nervous at the beginning, but he's unwavering because he's innocent. Like he knows he's in the right, and so Binger couldn't ruffle his feathers really. You know.
I mean, he's nervous. Like just because you're nervous doesn't mean that you're guilty.
Right.
You know, I mean the Binger threw everything he had at this kid. Everything he had at this kid, and I'm not even sure when he broke down. Was that even through Binger's questioning, or was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was through. Oh wait.
Or was that?
I take that back.
I don't even know if that. I didn't see who asked him the question. I just saw because like I said, I was watching bits and pieces. I think that may have been his own
defense
attorney.
You might be right. I don't recall. That's a great question. But I do think it was Binger.
Okay.
Regardless, I had a piece to that. Mm-hmm. But I think, like, for me, the biggest thing before we get to the breakdown, even though this happened after Kyle's breakdown, is the blatant, like, disregard of Kyle's Fifth Amendment right. Like,
oh yeah,
like, oh, you haven't told your story before. Like, no, mother F-bomb. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to tell his story to anybody. Yeah, which was a smart move on his part.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would have had like 10 more hours of the prosecution drilling him on stupid points because he's just trying to grasp at something.
Yeah, and this judge was extremely lenient with this. Everybody wants to think that this judge was like mean to the prosecution. Like, no, this judge was lenient. Extremely lenient for the BS that they were pulling. Extremely lenient.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like when your kid gets out of line and he continues to get out of line. You gotta spank your kids sometimes. you gotta like, and the judge had to like it was like the judge had to keep this guy in check because he kept getting out of line. You know, like it was absurd.
And so here's my question, and we can circle back to it after we chat through some more of it. But personally, I think that he was trying to get a mistrial.
Oh yeah, that it doesn't look as bad.
Exactly. He can fancy foot around that for his, these aspirations he has, or. That he can save face. That was
biased against
exactly.
Me, so, and I think that's what he's doing. Like he realizes his witnesses have pretty much his own witnesses have lost the case for him.
Yep.
And they have exonerated Kyle Rittenhouse, and unless we have an incompetent jury that is totally biased. Kyle Rittenhouse should walk away from this. And the fact that his own star witnesses were the ones who won the case for Kyle Rittenhouse, it's just gotta be devastating.
Yep.
So him getting a mistrial is the best case scenario, and I don't think this judge wants to give it to him.
No, I think
it's due to like this judge, like, no, you're gonna take this L.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to take this L the correct way. Not that a mistrial would be incorrect. It would be totally justified.
Absolutely.
In order, it's like he's getting an out,
Right. And for Kyle's sake, I'm like, please, I understand there's grounds for a mistrial, but I'm like, no, just persevere. Just get it done and over with so he can have his name fully cleared. It's not like, oh, no, you just got off on a mistrial. Like, no, completely clear this kid.
Yeah, I mean, what people saw at the trial, like people who have any sense can look at the trial. People who've been watching the trial sees what happened. If the judge can come in, if the jury convicts Kyle Rittenhouse, the judge can come in and say, hey, no, we're not doing this. And he can make a decision based on the facts, based on the law. He can overrule that if he chooses to.
Yeah.
Right? Is the governor a Republican or a Democrat in Wisconsin?
Who is the Wisconsin?
Because if it's a Republican, you can best assured he's probably if they can convict Kyle Rittenhouse, he will be pardoned.
Yeah, I can't recall off the top of my head. You should look that up real fast.
I think it's a Democrat, but
yeah,
Wisconsin is they're usually a Democrat.
You know, the other interesting piece of testimony that came out today that has not been discussed ever, which is wildly important to the case, is the fact that Kyle's father lives in Kenosha.
Yeah.
Like, we knew he worked there. We knew he did the graffiti.
I didn't know that either,
but it's like, you can't argue that he was there just looking for trouble. Like, that argument is gone out the door.
Yeah.
So
he has like actual family ties.
Yep. I think he said his grandmother lives there maybe. I don't recall exactly, but I believe he said he has other family members there too.
The whole narrative that he was just crossing state lines just to like fight protesters, you know, Antifa and BLM protesters was just blown out of the water today.
It's completely debunked.
It's completely debunked. He's a lifeguard there, works there. He was cleaning graffiti off of the walls that were put there by these domestic terrorists, Antifa and BLM a-holes. And he was there, you know, protecting his community. And he's what does he do? He does things. I think he's like a police cadet or something like that.
Yeah, and he's like volunteered with the fire department.
He's a certified. He knows how to give CPR. He knows how to use a defibrillator. He knows just basic
first aid.
First aid.
Yeah, but he knows even beyond that. He knows. I can't remember the basically like stop trauma bleeding.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact phrase of it, but he knows.
Yeah,
it's more than in depth of.
Like he was there. Like he's allowed to do that. How many so-called medics did you see going to these riots on the other side, and nobody ever says anything about that?
And question there.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Like the line of questioning was so ridiculous today. So I remember one of the questions from Binger, the prosecutor. He goes, "So you went out with your AR, and your purpose was to provide medical assistance. Why would you bring your AR?"
Yeah.
And you were with who's the girl that was videotaping or who was recording?
I can't remember.
Yeah, he was with some other chick that was actually videotaping, and he handed the gun to her to administer medical aid to a person. And he says, "Well, why did you have to take your AR when you're going to go and administer medical aid?" He didn't have anybody with him at the time.
Yeah.
So who is he going to give the AR to?
Exactly.
Is he going to just set the damn AR on the ground and let somebody else pick it up?
Exactly.
Like, what do you want? This guy was, oh my God.
Because I think
the questioning was insane.
It was garbage. It was trash. He was literally just trying to find a thread to pull on.
He was reaching like Dawson from Street Fighter. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, what do you want? So And then he, like, something so ridiculous is like, he said something along the lines of, I can't remember like exactly verbatim, but he said, so, who's the idiot that had his bicep blown off? He was talking about that situation.
Grosskreutz.
Yeah. Well, you had an AR-15 and he only had a pistol. And at that point, you had no reason to shoot him because he hadn't shot you yet.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what are you talking about? Yeah, he was like trying to break down this whole scenario. I don't know if you saw that piece where he like frame by frame, like did you were aiming it as, he's like, no, I could see his gun, like, and he wasn't actually aiming it. Even Rittenhouse called him out and was like, no, I think you've just stopped it at his frame, so it looks like I'm, aiming at him.
His own witness, the same guy that got shot by Rittenhouse, admitted.
Yeah. So it's irrelevant.
Didn't shoot. Yeah, so it's irrelevant. So why your own witness just blew your whole narrative up?
Yep.
So you're trying to somehow get a testimony from. All Kyle Rittenhouse has to do is just say the same thing that your last witness said.
Yep. Your
last star witness.
Yep.
Just blew his whole narrative up. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And then he started in on a line of questioning. And this is how you just know. He was like, do you play Call of Duty? And like he tried to like blame it on video games at that point. Like, you want to be a hero like these video games, and it's like in Call of Duty you can be a medic. Like your whole it's just pathetic. Stop.
It was
just stop.
Pathetic. Like I and it got to a point where it just got boring.
Yeah.
Like, it got so boring, and I just turned it off. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This guy, and he kept going around and going to the same question. He kept, well, why would you need your AR-15 if the crowd wasn't hostile?
Why? Yeah.
And he goes, what does he say? He said the crowd wasn't hostile towards me.
Exactly.
He didn't say that the crowd wasn't hostile. He just said that crowd wasn't hostile towards me. So why would you bring your AR-15 if the crowd wasn't hostile towards you? For protection?
Yeah, but you didn't think that you needed protection. So why would you have? Because you never know. That's the whole point.
There's a word. Deterrence.
Yeah.
Just having
that in
AR
itself
lets people know that not to mess with you. That is his right, his Second Amendment right.
Yep.
To hold that. So like it's insane, man. These people, oh my gosh. And like I said before, he had nothing, and I kind of he had little to work with. The prosecution has nothing. They have very little to work with. Even the liberal media is starting to admit. Yeah. Like, you go on CNN, all their sad faces, and it's like, Tubin, Lubin Tubin, he goes, well, I can't say that the prosecution is going to get what they want. If it was, he says something along the line, he says, if people could go to jail for being idiots, then the jails will be filled up. And I just thought to myself, your ass would be in jail.
Yeah. 100%.
You need to include yourself into that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are lucky that you are not in jail or facing some sexual assault charges.
Right.
Yeah,
it's like I hope you're including yourself in that. You're trying to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. Lord have mercy.
Getting awfully judgy.
Yeah.
For someone so touchy. So yeah, I worry that so as I think of the charges, there's clear evidence that Rosenbaum threatened to take his life, chased after him.
Gun you're threatening to take my life.
Yeah.
Point blank. Period. I don't care if you're unarmed. This is one of the things that I just want to. Sorry.
No, go for it.
When people talk about such and such percentage of unarmed black men are killed that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't paint the full picture. Being unarmed doesn't mean that you are not a deadly threat.
Right.
That means nothing to me. What is the context? What is the circumstance? What is the, tell me what is going on in that situation. Then I will speak on if the unarmed death is unjust.
Yeah.
Because you could be unarmed and still be justifiably shot or killed.
Look at what just happened at Travis Scott's concert.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, there weren't weapons. There's a whole other realm of conspiracy to that. But my point to this is there weren't weapons there, right? It was a mass crowd that basically trampled and mobbed people to death.
Sacrifice.
I said nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting video on that because there's reports that there are over 100 casualties.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
But I digress. I don't want to go off track too much. So my point being, like, a human body you can kill somebody with your person, right? So the prosecution's making this claim that the second person that Rittenhouse shot and killed, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Thank you. That he's the one that went to go kick Kyle Rittenhouse in the head, correct? I believe that's accurate. He's the one that came up and tried to...
Wasn't he the one with the skateboard?
He was the one with the skateboard.
Yeah, the one who hit him upside the head with a skateboard got some lead in him.
Yes.
And he's magging food right now.
Yeah.
So...
But then again, a skateboard is a deadly weapon.
That is a deadly weapon.
That is a 100%.
You know what's unbelievable? I was watching Newsmax, and they were running like a bunch of old videos from last year, painting Kyle Rittenhouse as like some white supremacist, and saying that they did, like, even one stupid woman said something along the lines of, since when does a skateboard count as a deadly weapon? I just was like, are you kidding me? Have you even seen a skateboard?
Yeah.
And did you see the skateboard that was used? You can hit somebody upside the head and bludgeon them and just like kill them instantly if you hit them in the right spot in the temple.
It doesn't even have to be in the temple or like permanent brain damage.
Yeah.
Even so, any point of the skateboard could be used for an insane amount of damage. But you look at like those trucks specifically on the bottom of the skateboard.
Yeah. And
you're like taking a hammer to somebody's head.
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic.
Yeah, these people are weird. They're trying very hard to spin this into like a narrative where Kyle Rittenhouse wanted to be some vigilante, crazed dude that was going out and killing all of these innocent protesters. And I say, screw you. Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero, number one. Number two, everybody who died deserved to die. I have nothing to say bad about Kyle Rittenhouse and what he did. I actually think he did God's work. Got rid of the pedophiles, got rid of the horrible felons and just terrible people that were going around just destroying the community.
Burning a city to the ground.
Nah, man. You going around burning a city, you deserve death. You touching kids, you deserve death, man. I don't care what our laws are. in my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, you deserve death if you touch kids. Period.
Point blank.
I don't care. I don't care what our laws are. Oh, he served his time. I don't care, man. I really don't care. You deserve death. In my opinion, you deserve death.
Yeah. I'm with you. Or I'd settle for castration.
Castration, yeah.
Or what's the to the pain, right, from the Princess Bride, right? Like, so every child who sees you.
Yeah, I mean, rape, you should be castrated. Rape, first time, I don't care what, rape, you should be castrated.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want me to be a dictator, if I was a dictator, a lot of these criminals would just be, they would hate me. They would hate me. Because I just have no time for that, man. We have a society to run, and kids should not feel in danger. Women should not feel in danger. And it's a disgrace that these people are being looked at as victims by the mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disgrace that Kyle Rittenhouse is being painted as some white supremacist, which is mind-boggling because there's not even a minority in this entire situation. Where is the minority in this?
Great question.
As a matter of fact, the dude that is maggot food right now is the one that was running around saying the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
So who is the white supremacist?
The racist.
Who is the racist? Life. It's like these people on the left and the mainstream media, the legacy media, and even all the way up to the executive branch with the idiot in chief, Joe Biden, has painted this kid as a white supremacist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joe Biden,
I hope,
who hasn't even the guy. This trial, right, is an ongoing trial. This trial is not over, and
the president of the United States is weighing in on it.
Yes, weighing in on it. Imagine if that was Trump.
Oof.
That weighed in on the any trial.
Yeah. No, it would be like a mistrial automatically, or I don't know. There would be some type of.
They would be trying to figure out some way to impeach him.
Yeah. Yes, and I hope that Rittenhouse sues for defamation.
He should sue. You know who he needs
Every
to sue?
single media outlet.
You know who he needs to sue? Facebook. He
needs
to sue them because you know what? Facebook would not allow anybody to
post search anything,
or do anything that was favorable to Kyle Rittenhouse because they wouldn't allow anybody to support mass shooters. That was their statement. That was their anybody who wanted to raise funds for Kyle Rittenhouse, GoFundMe as well decided not to allow people to raise funds for Kyle Rittenhouse defense because they did not want to support any mass shooters. This is a disgrace.
It is a disgrace.
Now the facts are coming out. We already knew the facts, but the facts are coming out in a court of law, and every one of these big tech companies that just slandered Kyle Rittenhouse, right?
Yeah.
Slandered his name, called him a murderer, a mass shooter, a mass murderer, was not allowed to raise funds. He needs to sue these people. He needs to sue Joe Biden. He needs to sue CNN. He needs to sue MSNBC.
Absolutely. Sue them all. And I hope he wins every single case, gets a lot of money, and gets to live his days doing.
Oh, after this, he should be able to live his days. I hope, and he needs to. He needs to teach classes. I feel like this guy should teach classes on how to defend yourself when it comes to this guy. This guy did everything right. everything right.
They want to paint it like he was just some trigger happy kid. He was.
He had so
all
much,
things considered, he had so much control, like trigger control, like
discipline.
Thank you.
Under
That's
pressure.
The word. Yeah.
Yo, and I had made a video talking, just recently on my way to your house about LeBron James, who had the nerve to comment on Kyle Rittenhouse's testimony. And it's a very emotional, not emotional, but like, I am totally triggered in this video. And I use very vulgar language, and I use the N-word a lot. And I am
That is not regular for you.
Yes, exactly. I never use it. And I use it in a derogatory way. I use it in a very derogatory way to describe this human
Waste pile
of garbage. 6'9", 260 pounds of shit that belongs in toxic waste. That's what LeBron James is as a person. Brilliant basketball player. His value is up to, I think, $1 billion or close to it.
Good
and
Lord.
He is that damn good on the basketball court, and his brand is I can't say anything about his brand and his competency on the basketball court and him as a businessman. But as a person, I can definitely comment on that. And he is the lowest form of garbage I've ever met. Not met, but seen in my life. He had the nerve to send out a tweet mocking Kyle Rittenhouse because of his testimony. Him having a panic attack because of PTSD that he was experiencing because he had to relive that night where he took out a pedophile, right? Mm-hmm. Another felon that was threatening his life, and blew off the bicep of another felon that had an illegal gun pointed at him, right? Everybody wants to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse having an illegal gun. This other guy was a convicted felon.
Right.
And
he wasn't supposed to have a gun either. And he was attacking
a
minor.
And he's not even going to get charged by it because this is the prosecution's witness. So if the prosecution charges this guy with they're not going to charge him.
No.
They're not going to charge him because they can't. They can't charge him. He was their star witness. So you're going to have a convicted felon be charged. You're going to charge him after he was your star witness? Wow, that really looks bad on you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they should. He deserves to be charged.
He deserves to be charged. He should be charged.
But
attempted murder.
Yeah.
I just wanted to finish this point real quick. Don't mean to cut you off, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just,
This kid, Kyle Rittenhouse, being mocked by LeBron James is nothing short of a disgrace. I tell you one thing, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I will take one Kyle Rittenhouse in my community over 10 million LeBron Jameses. If I had to pick right now, you could have 10 million LeBron James in your community. Or you can have one Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm taking one Kyle Rittenhouse over all of those LeBron James in my community. 100
Absolutely.
times over.
There's not even a question in my mind.
Yeah, I don't want that piece of garbage in my community. I will not want that piece of garbage. I want the guy that's going to protect my community from the pedophiles and the other convicted felons.
That's going to save my house, my business from burning down. That actually gives a shit about the community. Yeah, that's who I want to live next door to.
Exactly. LeBron James supports felons.
Yeah.
LeBron James supported the NBA shutting down for a convicted felon, Jacob Blake.
Yep.
The NBA supported that. The NFL supported that. Piece of human garbage, Jacob Blake. The reason Kenosha burnt down that night. If it wasn't for the narrative that LeBron James helped push that got everybody up in a craze and a frenzy, the media got everybody up in a craze and a frenzy, do you think Kenosha would have burnt down when they were pushing this narrative that Jacob Blake was unjustifiably shot by the police officers? Jacob Blake was justifiably shot.
Yeah.
And if I was a police officer, I would have emptied my entire magazine on him.
He was trying to kidnap children and steal a car after domestic. Yeah. The officer was in the right.
Raped his ex-girlfriend.
Yep.
Or his baby mama, whatever you want to call it. Digitally raped. And everybody's like, no, he was just there to break up a fight. No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Not.
That was BS. That's the narrative they tried to push when it first came out.
I know.
And then when they went through all the facts, everybody was like, oh, like, you know how they're silent? They make this big old craze. Oh, a black man shot by the police. And then, like, when the facts come out, they're silent. They don't say anything. They just they just shrug their shoulders and move on to the next BS. Yeah. They move on to the next BS. Racist narrative. You know. Yeah. These people are disgusting.
They are disgusting. I have two things. One, back to the Kyle, being on the stand, having PTSD, and not only is he reliving this awful traumatic night, he's and having to like relive it, like having to defend his life. He's doing that while he's literally he's defending his life, his future. So it's like this compounded. For anybody to sit back and think that this kid is so maniacal and evil and twisted that he couldn't possibly be, these tears couldn't possibly be authentic, then I think you're a trash human.
Yeah. I mean, his life is on the line. His life was on the line already once, and now his life is on the line again.
Exactly.
In the courtroom. And people are getting on him. People like LeBron James are getting on him because he had the nerve to break down. What a piece of garbage. Yeah. I can't stand it. I honestly have LeBron derangement syndrome. I think I do have that because no athlete triggers me like him. No athlete triggers me because he's such a fake. He tries to one-up Jordan because you know what Jordan's criticism was? He never did anything for social justice. And LeBron James is such in competition with Michael Jordan on like literally everything that he wants to. He's not doing this social justice shit for any type of real
not genuine
moral,
about it.
Genuine reason.
No,
he's doing it so he can one-up Michael Jordan. I'm just trying to be like Muhammad Ali. That has nothing to do with, you're trying to one up Jordan because that was one of his biggest criticisms by the idiots in the media. Jordan didn't do enough for the black community, which is false. And I have my criticisms of Michael Jordan, but he did a lot. He's done a lot for the community. He just doesn't put it out there like LeBron James, like the number one virtue signaler in the world, right? He doesn't put it out there like that. He does it like on the low. But
because he does it out of genuine
right. I mean,
care. I'm assuming. I would say I don't know.
Or not, he's not looking for fame or like clout or any kind of credit. LeBron James is, but you know how he's fake is you can just look to his masters.
I was just going to mention that.
His slave masters, China.
Exactly. Where's his outrage about the slave labor over there?
He doesn't have any. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Everywhere in America is an injustice, except for China. They're just they're immune to injustice. But he has a bag out there that he gets, so he's not gonna say anything about that. Mm-mm. That goes for the entire NBA too.
It's disgusting.
But what a piece of garbage! What a human piece of garbage! 6'9", 260 pounds of just garbage packed into a body.
I hope Rittenhouse sues him too. Sue them all. But there's this other piece too that really bothers me because the left is like, oh, you only care about this guy about Rittenhouse because he's a white, conservative male.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
public
like
enemy number one. So
right.
Yes.
But yes, I mean, I anyway, let me backtrack. My counter to that is, okay, well, where was the outrage about David Dorn? Like, where was your support for him? He wasn't armed. He was just, defending,
right.
His friend's business.
Mm-hmm.
But he was shot by thugs and died.
Yeah.
Like,
and I made a video about Kyle Rittenhouse, I think about a year ago. And I mentioned David Dorn in that video. And I said, I wish David Dorn was armed like Kyle Rittenhouse. Because if he was, those human pieces of garbage that took his life,
mm-hmm.
They would be 6 feet under instead of David Dorn.
Yeah.
If he had been armed, then he probably would have been able to preserve his life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he wasn't armed, and he, those scumbags got to him.
Yep. But the left didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't care about. They weren't like. They didn't mourn David Dorn's death, even like they do. Like they're crying over these two men that.
Because here's the thing. You got to understand, like, the left, especially these groups like Antifa and BLM, what they are trying to do is push a Marxist ideology.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to push that ideology. You have to put a little perfume on it to make it smell a little better. You're going to have to, put some makeup on to make it look better. You're going to have to
mm-hmm.
Dress it up so it looks nice. And they're doing all that in the form of racial injustice. So they smack that on and wrap it up around the Marxist ideology. And they wrap the racial injustice around it to make it look better, because they know that people, the average person is like, oh, I don't want to be a racist. Like, I'm not a racist, which is, I really wish that it wasn't like this. And I really but the average person is so brainwashed and so, I don't want to say stupid, but like the average person just doesn't want to be looked at as a bigot, right? Which is understandable. But when you're so wrapped around the thought of not being looked at as a bigot, you just lose sight in what is being thrown at you. You lose sight of like what's really going on. And you can't decipher, and you're so blinded by that, and that's what the racial injustice wrapping around this Marxist ideology, that's what it does. It comes in, it's like a Trojan horse, and it just fools people. And by the time, the Trojan horse is already in, it's too late, because
you got Brad Pitt coming out.
Because Greece is already, they're already in your walls.
Yep.
And that's how Troy fell. So this is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're wrapping their BS ideology, Marxist ideology, up with BLM, racial injustice rhetoric, BS rhetoric, that you and I can see through, but the average person can't, because they're so wrapped in the fact that, oh, I don't want to be racist, I don't want to be a bigot,
right.
I don't want to be blah. Right?
Yeah.
It's disgusting, and it's effective, but it is disgusting.
It is highly effective.
Yeah.
But I think, too, to counter that a little bit, I think there are more people starting to wake up and
Yes.
be like, what the hell?
I
Like,
used-
stop calling me a racist. I'm not racist.
Yeah.
And they're starting to get mad. Like,
I used to disagree with that, but now I'm starting to agree with that because I'm starting to see, because there are a lot of people who are like actual like moderates that you wouldn't, that you know, they're actual moderates, and they're getting red pilled. They're getting red pilled. I mean, it's slowly but surely they're getting red pilled, and the culture war, like you're starting to see. Look at the approval rating of Kamala Harris. Look at the approval.
tanking.
Yes, look at the approval rating of Joe Biden.
In the pooper.
This is not done by Republicans or people on the right. The reason they're tanking is because people from the center, the moderates, they are sick and tired of being called racist. They're sick and tired of mediocre leadership.
Yeah.
And there's like race can only get you so far. Kamala Harris is a diversity hire.
Exactly.
She's I guess black, Indian, whatever the hell she wants to claim. Okay. And she's a woman, so she has those two boxes checked. So she's a diversity hire, and that can only get you so far. You got to perform.
Exactly. And actually, I will give it to Biden in one of his last speeches. He's like, we got to provide results for people. And it's like, yeah, no shit, Joe. Like, and people are saying that you are not driving results. You're not doing it because you have your entire, like, positioning and whole campaign was, you know, orange man bad and racism is evil. And it's like, well, yeah, we know that, but could you focus? People are starting to wake up to realize, like, those aren't the most pressing issues.
Yeah.
That I'm sorry, because it's not rampant like they're claiming. Like, America is not an inherently racist country. It's like, that's not this huge. The number one domestic threat is not cis white males. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Trump supporters. It's not all these things that they're saying. It's no, our economy is tanking, and the moderates are starting to see that. Like, oh, that wasn't the most pressing issue. Like, these gas prices, this sucks. Like,
right. I mean, people are, you know, their pocketbooks that matters. You know, they're you know, if people are worried about inflation, people are worried because they see their shelves are being empty when they go to the grocery store.
Yep.
They can't buy toilet paper. They can't buy chicken. They can't buy beef. They can't buy, like, you know, turkey is going to be upwards, you know, a 16-pound turkey is going to be what? $55 I saw this year?
Yeah, that's insanity.
But it was last year, I think it was like $20, $25 for a 16-pound turkey.
Turkeys are not wildly expensive, but this year they will be.
Yeah.
There's shortages for everything.
And
like,
everybody's Christmas gifts may not even make it on time. It's
shop local. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Shop local for Christmas. You know, support local businesses. Had to put that little plug in there because I think it's important.
Yeah, it's very important. It's I mean, people are looking, like, you can only get so far, like you said, on Orange Man Bad and everything is racist. That is not going to be, that could last maybe, the honeymoon is over.
Exactly. That's a perfect phrase for it.
Yeah.
Honeymoon is over. Like, you know.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, I almost don't feel bad for these people that thought that, you know, Biden could perform, or Kamala Harris could perform, because they should have been able to see that earlier. Better late than never. But still, I almost don't feel bad for them, and I almost kind of take glee and like
I told
like,
you so.
Yeah, I told you so. Like I almost kind of like, yeah, you deserve this.
Yeah.
You almost you deserve this.
If it didn't affect me so
blinded,
much, yeah, I would take that stance a little.
Yeah, because you were so blinded by your hate for Donald Trump that you didn't even take your family in consideration.
You didn't even pause for. I would say maybe even 30 minutes. Take 30 minutes and look at Joe Biden's track record.
Yeah.
Look at Kamala's track record.
Yeah.
That's literally like, look slightly into Hunter Biden's laptop. Look slightly into these things beyond the headlines. Mm-hmm. And you will be shocked. They would have been shocked. I bet they would have voted differently.
And the jobs that they're giving Kamala Harris.
Oh my gosh.
They're sending this woman all over the place, overseas and stuff. They send this woman overseas to talk about the borders of these European countries. Like, what the hell? Hold on, you got a border in your own country that you're supposed to be in charge of. And she's going all the way overseas to...
What a joke.
Yeah, it's oh my God. To talk about the damn borders of European countries. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, granted, some of that stuff was caused by the U.S., especially the Obama administration that destabilized Libya when they got rid of Gaddafi. And now all of these folks are fleeing that turmoil that's going on in that country, and they're going to European countries because of what Obama did. And they're trying to go over there and patch it up and say, oh, you need to let these refugees come. But hold on. Kamala Harris is going up in Europe and advocating for human rights of these migrants that Joe Biden and Barack Obama are responsible for, and Hillary Clinton. They are responsible for a lot of these refugees that are fleeing places like Libya. So they make a mess, and then they go and they put the responsibility on these European countries, making them, oh, you're violating human rights because you're not allowing. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. And then you got a freaking border here in your own country, and you refuse to go down there and fix the issues over there. Joe Biden, last time he visited the border was like, what, 2008? And it wasn't even really visiting the border.
Right.
This guy is a joke. He's the worst president of all time. And the fact that Kamala Harris is second in command is just speaks volumes. Like, who's this guy? Jimmy Kimmel tried to say it was her approval rating of like 26% is because of racism and sexism.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He actually said that?
He said that. He said,
the balls. Are you serious?
He tried to pull that card.
So you're saying that what's that? 74% of America is that racist?
Yeah, it's like these are Democrats, people and people on the left. Like Democrats don't like Kamala Harris, man. Like,
nobody likes Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Nobody. That's why she tanked in the primaries.
The only people who like Kamala Harris are blue check marks.
Yeah,
true. Those are the only people who like Kamala Harris. Left-wing blue check marks on freaking Twitter. That is it. All of these celebrities you see and Hollywood, they love them some Kamala Harris.
Yeah, well, I would love for them to point to, other than identity politics, why nothing. They love her. What has she done? What has she done? Nothing.
Nothing. It's a disgrace. Man.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, back to Kyle. That was a long segue off there, but yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty hopeful for him, and I think that his defense is doing an incredible job. Granted they don't have.
I saw some, a few things that they could have said objection to. Like there were some things where this guy being asked the same question, like
over and over.
like what? 5 times.
Yeah.
And it was like the same question. And then when they did say objection, the judge, like I said, the judge was very lenient with this guy. And people might not believe, they watched the damn trial, they will know that this judge was very lenient with this guy. Because he asked the same damn question 100 different times throughout the trial. And he always had some little sly, he always had some little sly reason of why he had that. This is a different circumstance. Okay, I'll let you answer the question. Go ahead. That's what the judge was doing throughout the whole trial.
Right.
And it wasn't until he was blatantly violating constitutional law and rights of Kyle Rittenhouse that the judge had to blow up on him and put him back in his place.
Yep.
But this guy was just what, like you said earlier, he was just trying to keep Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand to just fluster him and just throwing anything, everything in the kitchen sink at him. And it did not work because Kyle was prepared.
Yep. He's prepared and he's innocent.
Yeah, he has the truth on his side.
Yeah. And so to your point about, I was trying to think through, I'm like, why aren't they objecting? Like, this is insane. Yeah. But I think because Kyle was so strong and he was unwavering and, he was just like, nope, because they were attacking me. And it's just actually, one, it's making, the jury's going to start getting real annoyed with Binger, right? Yeah. They're just going to start getting annoyed. Yeah. And two, it's driving home the messages that Kyle's saying even more. So I could see that that's why the defense didn't object. Like, that's my
I'll tell you one thing.
Yes.
If Kyle is found guilty, Wisconsin is turning red. Like, deep red. Yeah. I think that's my prediction. If Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty. Because people, especially people in that state, are looking at this. And that is kind of a moderate, it's not a, super, it's pretty Democrat, don't get me wrong. It's pretty blue. But they're not so far blue, and it can be switched over to red. I mean, Donald Trump won it in 2016, and he barely lost it. So it's kind of purple.
Yeah.
Now, that if you want to sway a country into a deep red, go ahead and convict Kyle Rittenhouse. Go ahead because the facts are all out. And these mothers are going to look and say, yo, that could have been my boy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That could have been my boy.
Exactly.
Being attacked because they all have the facts out. Most of these mothers and most of these, moms, a lot of these suburban moms, they get their information from CNN. They get their information from MSNBC, right? Mm-hmm. But even these news outlets are admitting that Kyle Rittenhouse is probably going to walk free.
Yep.
And they're going to see this. And if they convict, that is going to be a very, the Democrats, they need to just leave this alone. I feel like they need to leave this alone if they want to, and not just in Wisconsin, all of these other purple states, right? Because people like law and order for the most part. They like law and order. Even these suburban, especially these suburban white moms, they'll cheer up and down in these urban communities. Oh yeah, social justice. But when that shit goes into their community, it's gonna be they do a complete 180.
Nope. They're not having it.
They're not having
it.
Let it happen in everybody, which is kind of I think that's kind of disgusting.
It is yucky.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting that they're like that. But have it which is crazy because you're doing everything you can to destroy your own, community. Because they're working hard to destroy the suburb right now. Yeah. And I don't think these suburban women are initiated in that. I don't think they know.
I don't think they see it coming.
They don't see it coming.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
another topic, but like,
Yeah.
I don't think they see it coming.
Yeah.
They're coming for the suburbs.
Literally, they were just marching through suburbs, burning them down.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so do you think that if Kyle Rittenhouse is found innocent,
Mm-hmm.
then do you think Kenosha will face more riots?
If he's found innocent,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think you may have a day
Yeah.
or two,
But
people
nothing
going out,
wild.
but nothing like the summer of fentanyl Floyd. You know, nothing like that. I think people are going to, like, a lot of people are you know, they're going to see the facts, and people are going to arm up, and they're not going to tolerate any of that again. I don't think the country is going to tolerate another summer of fentanyl Floyd.
No.
They're not going to tolerate that. That's a one and done. They're going to try to bring this stuff up during election time again, and people, you don't understand like how everybody got armed up. Everybody like that after that the riots, so many people got armed up.
Yep.
So many, like millions of like people registered firearms.
Sales went through
the roof. You know, you couldn't, like, they broke the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
So let them try that again. Let them try that again. It's going to be a different. A lot of people are going to be stopped in their tracks.
I would agree with that. I don't know. People are, buzz that like, oh, we're gonna riot in Kenosha, but I don't think the energy's there, honestly, for it.
The energy is not there. Like, I don't think the energy is there. I could be wrong. We could look back at this video. Excuse me. And, you know, we could look dumb when Kenosha burns down again. But I know Antifa's going to be out there, but they're not going to have the backup that because Antifa, they're not going to have the backup like they did last year.
People were looking, okay, where's the next place to go? Where's the next riot? Like, just ready to jump on it. And I don't think people are back at work now, right? Like, they have bills now.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not an election year. Everything
not an
is
election
like,
year.
It's not. They'll be out there, but the Democrats are under the water right now, and law and order and crime is one of the top priorities.
Yeah.
And they're under the water in the polls, and if they do, you know, there's no Trump anymore to fall back on. As far as like, oh, this is Trump's America. You can no longer blame it on Trump. So if the Democrats don't enforce law, if the Democrats don't enforce law and order and they let their cities burn down again, I don't think the Democrats are not that stupid politically to let that happen. They can't. They could afford it because Trump could be the scapegoat back then. Which is a shame because these politicians that were shackling and handcuffing the police, telling them to stand down, is one of the reasons why Kyle Rittenhouse felt he had the need to go in the first place and protect his community and protect his city.
Yep.
That was the main reason why he went down there. He testified to that. The police, you can't count on the police to come in because either the police didn't want to or they were told by politicians, Democrat politicians, to stand down and let the city burn because it was, that's how disgusting they are. They will let communities burn and small business owners burn just so they can stick it to Donald Trump. That was the whole thing.
Ugh.
Destroy people's livelihood.
Yeah. That was so blatant. I don't know how people didn't see that. That was the entire objective.
Oh man, I hate politicians. So
I know.
bad. I wish we could. That's why I'm almost like. I don't want to. Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
I think I know where you're going.
Huh?
I think I know where you're going with it.
What do you think I was going to say?
Authoritarianism?
No, I was just going to say a dictatorship. Like, I guess you could say, like, one person that was, like, benevolent. Like, it's like, I wish there was just this one person that was, like, that wasn't, sometimes I wish that, because so many humans that have, it's just so many humans.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
There are too many cooks, and humans are evil, right? Like many of them, they can be corrupted. Not evil, but they can be corrupted.
Yeah.
Too many of them can be corrupted. As opposed to like it's like I almost wish that we can have this one like moral, benevolent, just leader that was in there, but that just wouldn't work. That's not American.
Because again,
it's
not American.
It's
I see the sentiment, but also I don't think that person.
He could, but the fact that he's a human or she's a human, they can be corrupted.
Exactly.
They can be corrupted.
Exactly. So we can't put our trust in one person.
Like, it's like your focus is spread on like so many different ways because there's so many of these corrupted individuals.
Mm-hmm.
At least with somebody who was, we could focus on them and put the blame on him. And if we as a people don't like that person, we could just at least focus and take that person out, or strip them of their power or whatever.
Yeah, America's way too big for that. It would never work. There's too many nuances. You have to have it. I personally, I feel like it needs to be a little bit reverse of that, and just maybe, or not even necessarily reverse, but like I'll say it 1,000,000 times because that's a real number. A convention of states, pull back federal power, put power back in state government, keep it more localized, so that it's easier to hold these elected officials accountable, right? Because it's directly impacting our life. We have eyes on, the governor, our mayors more, rather than this one grandiose president and this one person that really it's just like, no, pay attention to your local government, what's happening there. So.
Speaking of federal power, let's talk about how disgusting the FBI is.
Ugh.
The FBI is such a garbage organization or agency, federal bureaucrat organization, agency. They left and withheld evidence, exculpatory evidence, that clears Kyle Rittenhouse's name.
Yep.
They had this video evidence and they withheld it, saying that they lost. How are you an agency of that caliber with that many resources and you lose this?
You lost it.
Or you couldn't find it. It's like this clears his name.
Yep.
And you lose it. It doesn't, like, they are evil.
I fully believe that.
The FBI.
It's such a corrupt
one thing I will agree with the left when they talk. I don't know why they're so against the FBI. They're on their side. You know what I mean? It's like they're on their side for the most part. It's like your enemy of your enemy is a friend. Like they are focused head on these right wing conservatives. That's where their focus is right now. You should be like, oh yeah, I love the FBI.
Yep.
But they don't want to associate themselves with any type of establishment power.
Right.
So they have, like, the far left, they have to like distance themselves. Oh yeah, but it's like, yo, they're not even focused on you. They think that you're just an idea. They don't even think that you're a threat.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're focused on the Trump supporters. They're focused on the so-called insurrectionists. They're focused on white supremacy. So you should be happy that the FBI is fighting your battles. But because they don't want to be associated with that, they shun the FBI. And the FBI is a political arm of the Democrat Party establishment. And they share a common enemy with the populist right wing. Or they share a common enemy against the populist right wing.
Yep.
So, the FBI is disgusting. I am 100% in agreement with the far left when they say abolish the FBI.
I can get behind that, but at the same point, again, coming back to it has to be there. If they did their original job, right, there is a need for that. But
I say give all the resources to the states. Take all that money and just redistribute that. All that money that we give to the FBI and redistribute that to the states, forming their own state FBI or their own state bureau, their own state investigative or state bureaucracy, a bureau of investigation. You know, so I would rather it be like that than for it to be one governing, because if you have one federal governing body of like, it's like you have no real allegiance to anything. You only are allegiant to your own agency. At least with the state, they can be allegiant to, I guess, that local state. I don't know. You know, they can at least have like some type of what's good for the state or what's supposedly, supposed to be good for that state, which is still like, but at least it's more condensed into that state instead of one, big governing like freaking federal agency that is like, we're just going to look at every state and we're going to be the final say on every single state. Each state should have their own, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could work. There would have to be some, some type of standard set. So
here's the thing:
when you're going cross state line, right? Like looking at like criminal.
Yes, and they
activities
can work together
across
with these other states.
Yeah,
they can work together. That doesn't mean they can't work together. My thing is when you have something like a big, you can be corrupted by another politician. You're more easier corrupted by a politician, let's say from anywhere, like Hillary Rodham Clinton. Like she was, she paid for the political dirt to come up with a Steele dossier. And the FBI took that, right? And they pushed a narrative that Trump was some kind of Russian agent.
Right.
And they made a whole big thing about this. This was the federal government. If it was state, Hillary would not be able to do that.
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
So it's like...
to break up that power.
Right.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think that would make sense and be an effective solution. Will it happen?
No, it's not going to happen. You think these, the federal bureaucracy is going to give up any of their power? Nope.
No.
What's going to have to happen is what you said.
Convention of States?
Yeah.
Yep. So. One day. Maybe in my lifetime.
Yeah, and I can honestly say that Republicans are not going to be for it either.
No, of course they're not going to be.
The federal Republicans.
They love power just as
Washington,
much as Democrats.
Yeah.
That's the same.
Because you know what they always say? Oh, well, the rank and file FBI, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the people at the tippy top. And it's like, oh, gosh, break up that entire agency. They are, I'm sorry, man. There may be some good men and women in the FBI, but send them somewhere else. You know, not let them lose their jobs, but send them, break up the FBI and send them to something like let them have the opportunity of getting into some kind of state job.
Yep.
You know, or something private, some kind of private investor. You know, I don't know, man. It's just like, you know, incentivize them to go into the private industry or the private, sector, and make it easier for them to go into the private sector. The rank and file, the good rank and file people. But when it comes to it's just too corrupt, man.
Yeah.
It's too corrupt. They withheld evidence that would have.
They swayed the presidential election.
Yeah, this narrative could have been destroyed, and they did it on purpose for political reasons.
Yeah. He shouldn't, in my opinion, Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have even had to go to trial.
Yeah, this is such an open and shut trial. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, they're supposed to continue tomorrow, and, you know, their hope being that it'll be concluded by Monday. We'll see. I'm sure, you know, it's got to be a stressful next few days for Kyle, his mom, his sisters.
Yeah, seeing his mom was just, oh, man.
Oh, I know. That hit me right in the feels. And then I think it was his sister that started crying, and I was just like, oh. Yeah. My heart goes out to them. So.
They need to acquit this kid. He needs to be acquitted.
Yes.
He needs to walk. If he doesn't walk, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. You can't say that America is just.
No.
I would have, if this kid doesn't walk. Wow.
Well, I mean, we already kind of saw that with, unfortunately, Chauvin's case, right? Mm-hmm. That was not a just ruling.
That was not a just sentence. Murder. That was not a murder. I don't care what anybody says. That was not a murder.
I will give the manslaughter. I will concede that.
Give him manslaughter. Give him what is it? 5 to 10 years, whatever. Still, man, that wasn't no damn freaking murder.
Homicide. Yeah.
That wasn't a homicide.
No.
Man.
And so with that in mind, you know, that does make me a little nervous, you know, for Kyle, you know, as we've already seen that how media and events have swayed outcomes. So I'm just like, oh, please don't let that be the case here. But we'll just have to see. So.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
No, not off the top of my head. I can't think of anything else. I think that about, kind of wraps it up. I mean, that last message you sent me, that was pretty disgusting of the corporation. That is, I mean, this would be another topic that we can talk about, at another time, but, I thought that was, so here's the gist of it. I guess there's just some kind of a company, some kind of a corporation, some global corporation that is making it their policy to ask permission to hire white males.
Yep.
That's in complete violation of the Civil Rights Act. That's
discrimination.
Yeah, that's 100% discrimination.
I was floored when I saw that. I was just like,
under the pretext that they want diversity. Now, let me tell you something right now. Affirmative action is discrimination.
Agreed.
Meeting some kind of quota to fill in your diversity, that is discrimination. 100% discrimination.
Agreed. There's no disputing it.
I don't care if there's 100 out of 100 white males that you interview and 100 out of 100 black males or black females or white females, whatever. If there is a position that is open and each one of those positions are filled in by white males or they're filled in by black males and they all happen to be by merit, if you hire 100 million or 100 white males that just happen to be white males and they get those positions by merit, that's what it should be based on, period, point blank.
Right. Why is it not merit? I still can't. Why aren't we going based on merit? Remove names from applications if you must. Like, you're worried about bias or... I mean, I can understand that, I guess, to a certain point, but there's resolutions to it, and the resolution is definitely not we have to seek permission to hire white males. You're out of your mind.
For who?
Exactly.
A diversity officer or something?
Yeah.
Like, who the hell? Oh my God. And I see a lot of corporations, they're adding this, like, you have your CEO, your COO, and they're adding this diversity like officer to all of their large corporations, and it's becoming standard. It's becoming standard.
Yeah, I know.
And if you don't meet, if they could come in and they see that, they're like, oh well, we need a black female
that makes my
manager in this department. It needs to be that, and you only need to interview black females. Ugh, that's so disgusting.
Lawsuits. Slap these companies and corporations with lawsuits for discrimination. I'm sorry. And can we also just lay it out there that, can we finally admit that their white privilege doesn't exist? You're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like you literally have to get permission for white hires.
Yeah. That's
bunk.
That's literally like you're literally going back to 1950. You're literally going back to that. If that's what you want, just say it. Don't try to hide it behind diversity. Just say you want that.
Yeah.
So people can make a decision. Okay, well, you want segregation. All right, fine. Just say it. Be honest.
Yep.
A lot more people will respect you. These people want segregation again.
Yeah. They're brazen about it.
Yeah. And I want to see what is the angle of these corporations. I want to know what is their end game.
Well, I think part of it is they don't want to get sued. I think that's a big one. They don't want to face backlash because there's this cancel culture right now, right? Like one accusation could tumble, not big corporations like Amazon, but big businesses if they're accused of.
Here's what's happening. And I can tell you straight up, this is what's happening. We are getting old, right? We're getting old, and we are next in line for these positions as far as positions of advisement, positions of, who is going to be telling these corporations what to do. We are millennials, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are probably, maybe Gen Z is more liberal than us. I don't know if Gen Z is more liberal than us.
I don't know about Gen Z. I would say Gen Z is pretty liberal, but the generation after them is actually shaping up to be more conservative.
Okay, well, we are I would say we are pretty damn liberal. Very, very liberal. And we are the ones that are in these positions that are advising these corporations right now. because we've been indoctrinated by these colleges.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think is saying, "Oh, we need a diversity officer in every large corporation"? And these corporations, they don't want to. They're just listening to these people. They don't have any, like, these CEOs. They don't have any real, like, backbone. They just want to stay making money, and they just want to stay, like, in the. They want to stay with the Johns, They want to keep up with the Johns or keep up with the Joneses.
Joneses, yeah.
Johns are,
I knew what
Joneses,
you were getting to.
They want to keep up with the Joneses, because if one corporation does something, another corporation is going to do it. Do the same thing.
Because what happens is people start saying, okay, well, this corporation is doing this. Why aren't you doing this? Like,
yeah, and they don't want to be a corporation that's like, oh, shoot, public opinion is going to look at my corporation as being racist or bigoted, and I don't want to be that corporation. I want to be inclusive, so I got to.
Because they don't want this.
Exactly.
They don't want this social jury to come after them, right? Like, because public relations, it happens so fast now. It's a split second. There was just this whole thing with. Within the body positive community, which is a whole other conversation, but like one of like the main stores, brands, like they lost an insane amount of business because of one TikTok video. And it's like, it's wild, and these are things that you have to be prepared for. So I don't think that it comes from a place. I think there are people who want to do good things and make sure, that nobody wants to be racist, or, you know what I mean? Like, I think they genuinely, some of them.
They don't necessarily care about being racist or not. I don't think these corporations care about racist or not. I think they just care about, they don't want that backlash from the public. So, and the most vocal are the social justice warriors. Exactly. If they see that all your board members are white males, they're gonna come after your corporation, and they are going to they're gonna make some noise.
Yeah, and so companies are trying to get ahead of it as much as possible, and so they're kind of going into like overdrive mode, like, which I think is the case with this company. It's just, but it's leading us down this path that, where does it end? Like, at what point are we like, okay, we're equal now, we can stop being racist to, like, white men?
It's not going to end until a certain part of the United States starts giving a damn.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about conservatives and moderates, and, until they start giving a damn, like, that's not going to end.
Yeah.
Because, people are still going to just support these large corporations because of the convenience.
Yep.
And they're just going to ignore it because, like I said, the average person does not have that much time. Like these liberals, like these college liberals, college educated liberals, they have time.
Yep.
They have time in the day because they have nothing else to do. They have time in the day because
they're on social media
right,
all
they're all
day.
on social media all the time. They have all of this college debt, right? They think their lives are just so, a lot of them are just so miserable. They can't think of anything else. They can't do anything else. They don't have a purpose. This is their purpose. This is what they're, this is their opportunity to, like, fight for something.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like, this is who these corporations are getting the pressure from.
Yeah.
And regular people that work and have families and are raising families, that's not important.
Yeah.
It's just not important, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they're just going to keep blindly supporting these corporations anyway. And it's just whatever, people are they just don't have enough time in the day.
That's
I almost think that it's like Democrats are purposely taking this entire, country, so it'll keep our focus on so many things that we're not going to be able to focus on like one thing, such as like this racial like diversity thing that's going on in these corporations. I want to talk about this, but I'm worried about inflation. I want to talk about this, but I'm worried about the border. I want to talk about this, but I'm worried about whatever, the supply chain,
Yeah. It's not a top issue.
It's almost as like they're doing this on purpose so they can like spread us so thin that we can't focus, so many things.
That could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that we could call it a night. That's been a long one.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been at it for a minute. There's so much to talk about, though. But yeah, we can call it a night. We should definitely talk about this, some more, the diversity piece. Maybe that'll be our next one. But yeah, let us know in the comments what should our next video be about. You want to hear more about that? So maybe we'll cover more of the Rittenhouse case. But for now, thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good night. Like, share, subscribe.
That too.
Bye.
Bye.